What's up, and welcome back to the DualSense podcast. This is episode number 107. 107. I am one of your co hosts, Jason, and I'm joined as always by your other co host. His name this evening, let's see here, is Ethan Cock. Perfect. Ethan
Mhm.
Cock, also known as Travis. Travis, what's going on? Que bueno.
Shout out to Ethan Cock,
Yes,
underrated actor.
he certainly is. Certainly is.
He is great in The Black Phone,
Hmm.
amongst other movies. Everybody knows him from Training Day, but he's been really good in some other movies. It's kind of sad that Training Day is like his swan song or whatever you want to call it. It's just,
Sure.
I don't know. He's one of
It's
those
his
guys.
magnus opum.
Yeah, it's like there's other guys like this. I can't think. And the thing is, I don't know their names. Maybe Ralph Fiennes. I feel like he's one of those guys. That's a really good actor, but like
Hmm.
Michael Caine's done too much to Michael Caine's above him, but there's some other versions of
I
him
don't
like
know
that.
though. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but Michael Caine wasn't really on the map per se
Mhm.
until the Batman movies, you know?
Right, but if you watch some of his older movies, they're really good, and he's really good in them, but it's just like he
Hmm.
just floats, like, you don't you know, whatever, I
Right.
don't know. It's just
No, I'm
interesting.
with you.
I enjoy him.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. My sources say that you went and ate at a sketchy Chinese buffet tonight, and you've already
Yeah.
shit your
Mhm,
asshole off once. Is that
mhm.
correct?
Yeah, just your traditional, Chinese buffet. What's interesting is I've
Mm.
only had, like, one decent Chinese buffet, and I think that was in college. There was
Oh,
one that was kind of okay, but they always seem a little sketchy and dirty, and
yeah.
I don't know, but I really just wanted what I really wanted was at the sushi train place, they have really good dessert, and I knew that they had the dessert there, so it's kinda like,
Mm.
you sift through some rice that may or may
Hmm.
not be gross, but you get to eat the free tiramisu, so it's kinda like,
Yeah.
what do you do?
The problem with the more like cheaper feeling Chinese buffets for me is it feels like they just got everything in a 5-gallon bucket and then like threw it in a warmer. I'm like, oh hey, here's
Mm.
General So's. You know
I
what I'm
would
saying?
say that that's more than a feeling.
More than a feeling.
I had mango jello,
Mhm. Well, that's interesting.
and it was actually really good. There was just this big tub with
Huh.
yellow shit, and I was like, "What is this?" Tried it, it's great. They also had a tub that
Well,
was just, hard-boiled eggs cut in half,
oh wow.
which is
They
weird.
they didn't cut all those themselves. There's no way. Maybe they did. I don't know. I
Well, who
mean,
cut them?
I don't know.
You
A
don't get
robot somewhere in
God,
Texas.
you don't think they get half you don't get what do you get? Boiled eggs on a half shell?
It's yeah, just like oysters.
Uh,
My favorite Chinese place in town is no longer going to do a buffet. Sources tell me.
why is that?
So I don't know. I don't know if it's COVID related or they just realized that they were losing money on it.
Mhm.
Because I mean, people crushed that buffet.
Well, I think that makes sense.
I mean, myself included, occasionally. But
Mhm.
anyway, I was thinking earlier about how sometimes I do the things. I was doing it just before we started recording to my wife, where I do the thing to my wife in the Chappelle Show skit where he makes the jokes about he wishes that he had the wrap it up flashing red light sign that they have at like award shows and stuff that he wishes he had that for everyday life,
Mhm.
and did that to my wife earlier where I was like giving her kind of like the wrap it up thing, and she just like started spitting everything out at me that she wanted to say much faster.
Yeah.
So that I think that's really funny. I enjoy that.
Yeah, I do too. I usually turn mine on when she says, "How was your day?" I just turn it on immediately.
uh,
If she says, "Hey, this happened to me today," I turn it back on. And when if she breathes too loud, I turn it on.
yeah,
Whatever.
hit her with an oh wow that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're 12, damn, that's crazy's in, and she just got to the part where she walked into Target in the story.
Anyway, Travis, we are a weekly podcast where you and I get together and we discuss all things PlayStation, like news, rumors, new game releases and announcements, and much, much more. We do it all in under 90 minutes. Every week, we post new episodes on Monday on all the usual podcast services, as well as YouTube if you prefer to listen to your podcast there. We are an audio only podcast, though, so just beware of that, but it's there for you if you like. We also share gameplay videos on the YouTube from a variety of games: Battlefield, F1 2022, Crusader Kings 3, Arcadegeddon, all kinds of good stuff over there. If you want to check some of that out, Insurgency, you name it, we're there. We're very diverse, very eclectic, if you will. So you can also find us on social media. Of course, our weapon of choice there is Twitter. where you can find us at the DualSense Pod. But we're also on Instagram, where we share virtual photography from our gaming escapades. And we also have a Facebook page and a blog, which is called the DualSensePodcast.wordpress.com. So please pick your weapon of choice and reach out to us. We'd love to hear from you and talk with you like we do with many of you. So without further ado, let's jump into what is a very good news, or a good week of news, excuse me, I should say. We've got some interesting things to cover here. So let's jump in. Starting with number one. The Last of Us Part 1 suffered a massive leak this week as several minutes of gameplay footage, screenshots, control schemes, graphics modes, accessibility features, and more all leaked online. The leaks appear to be real and is once again a massive blow to Naughty Dog, who also had a major leak of gameplay and plot details of The Last of Us Part 2 just months prior to its launch back in 2020. This time around, the leak showed an obvious and major graphical leap from the original PS3 game to the PS5 remake. However, the leaked assets were not enough for many fans online, and admittedly, some of the footage appeared a bit underwhelming compared to the PS4 remaster of the game, which ultimately called into question the veracity of the leaks in general. Additionally, the Reset Era leaker responsible for the footage claims that the remake would feature no gameplay improvements, but rather just updates to animation, audio, and graphics. If true, that would be in direct contradiction to what developer Naughty Dog said we could expect from the remake when they announced it earlier this summer. In fact, in the PlayStation blog post announcing The Last of Us Part 1, Naughty Dog wrote, quote, "With leaps in technology and hardware that allow us to push the limits of the visual fidelity and interactivity, we're thrilled to announce this complete remake of The Last of Us. We've implemented modernized gameplay, improved controls, and expanded accessibility options. Effects, exploration, and combat have all been enhanced." End quote. After the chorus of negativity online reached a fever pitch this week, Naughty Dog responded in kind, fighting fire with fire by sharing a new deep dive into the remake on the PlayStation blog that included a nearly 11-minute long video. The video featured Naughty Dog co-president Neil Druckmann, The Last of Us Part 1 game director Matthew Gallant, and creative director Sean Escaye, breaking down the game's various upgrades while talking over gameplay footage. The new footage looked incredible, and we learned that in addition to the graphical overhaul and gameplay improvements, the remake is also adding a permadeath mode, a speedrun mode, and new unlockable outfits for both Joel and Ellie. And in the blog post, Sony once again doubled down on the stance that the game is a true remake, writing, quote, "It's clear that there's a lot more going on here than a simple resolution and frame rate bump. It's a complete overhaul." End quote. What do you make of all this? And what do you make of the fact that they dropped this new deep dive at 8 o'clock on a Thursday night, which is very atypical of when they make big announcements or big, reveals, so to speak?
The lateness of the reveal is just a in-kind reaction to me, and they felt like they had to get something out really, really quick. There's a couple of reasons in my mind as to why you would respond like that, but we'll get to that in a second. But from the start, the leak. So yeah, the leak is. It's funny to me that they use the word leak because a lot of the stuff we already know about the game. It's a remake. We already know a lot of stuff. So the stuff that they're leaking is literally graphics, audio, and some animation type stuff, and maybe
Hmm.
see some gameplay stuff. So my thinking is if it's a leaker, obviously the leaker has some sort of inside connection.
Hmm.
That doesn't mean that the leaker is the inside connection, right? Maybe somebody who works at Naughty Dog sent them some gameplay and then they posted it. And the reason I think that might be true is the person that leaked it said, "Hey, there's no gameplay improvements. Like this just looks like basically a graphical upgrade and they added some audio, right?" Well, if you're not a part of the team and you get sent a snippet of gameplay that you did not develop, you weren't a part of, you may not get a clip that has the gameplay improvements. And since you aren't involved, you're
Mm.
not in tune enough to realize that, right?
Mm.
So to me, that's how I'm seeing that because of the late response, the atypical response, as you put it on a Thursday. If Naughty Dog wasn't upset about this, they wouldn't have responded like that. They would have just let it kind of float out. They would have responded when they felt like they needed to, and well, they did, but you know what I mean. They would have kind of let it breathe a little bit.
Agreed.
But
No,
since
I
they
agree.
responded immediately with an 11-minute video they talked over like it was a fucking you know
Mm.
movie commentary,
That's what it was. Yeah. Hmm.
that makes me think that they're like, hey, well, look, this guy, yeah, sure, he leaks some gameplay video, but he doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. Let me lay it out for you. And that's how I
Yeah.
took it. Was they're not. obviously, they're not happy about the leak, but it's like, if you're gonna leak, be right, be correct. So I kinda took it as, like, if you're gonna come at us, have your shit together, and this leaker didn't for whatever reason. That's kinda the way I took it. We'll see. Once the game comes out, we'll know which one of them was right, and we'll kind of have a better barometer on the reaction. But that's kinda my take on it. That's how I read it. I always love games that have permadeath modes.
Yeah.
I just love that because it's so difficult. I remember when I was a kid playing games, like, I remember
Yeah.
the first time I played Uncharted, I think I died, like, 4 minutes into the game because I was learning the buttons and I fell off of something and died, and I was like, "God, if I was actually Nathan Drake, I would already be dead, like, I wouldn't even have found anything," you know?
Yeah.
And this kind of adds that realism to it in a way, and I
Mhm.
love speedruns, so anytime I can see speedruns, I'm fucking for it. I love the people that take a game that somebody has put years into developing, and you just run by all of the cutscenes and bullshit to get
Yeah.
to the end of the level. It's the irony of it is what entertains me really, and the creativity of it, but
Sure.
yeah, but in a nutshell, I think the leaker might have gotten some things wrong based off of the reaction of Naughty Dog.
Mm. Mm. Yeah, that's interesting. But actually I forgot to put in the write up here, but that was one of the things that called into question for me if the leak was accurate or if at least it was the most current build of the game. Because
Yeah, right, right.
if I remember correctly, I think in this blog post or maybe in the video, they said that there's two graphical modes. The standard, like, graphics one, which is native 4K, 30 frames per second. And then I think that they said there was the other one, which is the typical one, performance,
Mhm,
like dynamic 4K, 60 FPS.
mhm,
But in these screenshots of the settings and whatnot that this person leaked, it mentions like and it's a weird terminology too. I'll have to go back and look it up, but the two graphics modes that he switched between allegedly, it was 4K and 40 frames per second, which is not unheard of because that's like a Sony thing now where they patch in 40 frames per second to the games like down the road. Like they just did it with Horizon Forbidden West,
mhm,
they've done it with Spider-Man, they've done it with Ratchet and Clank. So it's not unfeasible that they might launch this game with the 40 FPS mode, but that's not typically what they do. Also, like I said, the wording of it was so odd. I might have to go back and find that, but it didn't say like favors graphics, favors performance. It said something like, or it didn't say resolution and frame rate modes or something. It was really weird the way it was worded, which I've never seen it worded quite like that. Which so that was kind of like a red flag for me of like, well, is this real or is like this been doctored? Like somebody took some remaster footage like off the PS4 Pro and they like tried to dress it up some and then like I don't know. I mean, I don't know if people can do that or not. I mean, nobody's really called into question the leaks. Naughty Dog has kind of admitted that it's a leak. So I guess it is. I guess it is. But some things don't line up, is what I'm trying to say. So back to things as a whole, the thing that I think is kind of awesome about this is that they had this leak, the second really kind of big one in a row now, right before they're about to put a game out, which sucks for them. They've got a problem somewhere that they've got to figure out, but or they have somebody that hates them that wants to leak everything that they do.
mhm,
But all this is going on. Everybody's like just shitting on the game. It's a cash grab. This is just the same game. It's not a remake, et cetera, et cetera. And then that they did not want to put this out yet. Like they probably had this or were working on this to do like sometime in August, right before the game comes out, because the blog post is like 4 paragraphs. Like
mhm,
it's a short blog post and they just throw the video in the middle of it. So normally when they do like these pre-release deep dives, the blog post is longer than that from what I can remember, first of all. And then secondarily, they released it at 8 o'clock Eastern on a Thursday night, which there's no reason for them to do
mhm,
that. They would not do that on Thursday night, something of that magnitude.
right.
Now they'll put out trailers for these little indie games and stuff, right? On all hours of the day, they'll do that whenever. But for something like The Last of Us Part One, no. So I respect them for being like, hey, like I tweeted earlier this week, like fuck the internet bullshit. Let's post it now. Like just send it. So I respect them for doing that and being like, we're tired of hearing this shit. Let's show them. And in terms of what we saw from that, at least from my personal opinion, to me, it it kind of got rid of all my fears. It answered all of my questions. because, you see the shit on Twitter and online or whatever, and you're like, yeah, that does kind of look like blah, like whatever. But this trailer it was awesome. It looked good. The things they were describing were good from a gameplay standpoint. Like it to me, after having seen that, it definitely seems like a full blown remake to me. Now, other people don't feel that way. You can, if you want to argue it's still not worth $70, again, I think that's fine. You can still make that argument, but I don't think that you can sit around and make the argument that it's not a remake. So I think to me, I'm impressed. I'm satisfied, whatever you want to say. I'm good to go. It's a shame that their shit keeps leaking, but we're also in this weird point, and as the last thing, just to kind of wrap up, we're also in this weird point where people are really like hard on PlayStation in the sense of like Horizon Forbidden West came out, it reviewed well, it's a great game, but people are like, it's just more of the same. Even though it's like it is hands down, in my opinion, better than the original in every conceivable way. Now, then you hear this shit with like God of War, and they're like, oh, they reused the same animation of Kratos getting in the canoe. So, and I can't imagine what the dialogue is going to be when that game comes out. And that's why I think it's going to review somewhere in the 80s. I think the original was like in the 90s. So I don't think the second one will come close to that. And then now we have this shit with The Last of Us where people are like, whatever, this is bullshit. So it's just kind of a weird place for PlayStation to be in right now. And it's especially weird by the fact that when in contrast to Microsoft, who's not even putting games out, like they're not even releasing a game this calendar year. So it's just odd. But anyway, I digress.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody just wants to be a bunch of sad bastards, which I thought maybe you would appreciate, but it's
Yeah.
like that tweet I sent you the other day, like, Chelsea loses to an MLS team, and then the same tweet gets put up 17 times about a guy who is never buying season tickets again, and he's gonna be an Arsenal fan. It's like a bot.
Yeah.
So it's I just
That
I
is a
I just
bot.
feel like that's most of the negativity we see as bots, and if you scrub
Mm,
the comments, you would see a lot of multiple postings. At least that's my experience with it, but, I mean,
sure.
maybe Bezos has got his, like, haters out on patrol.
Number two, in their first quarter financial reporting this week, publisher Ubisoft announced several changes to their upcoming release schedule. First, developer Massive Entertainment's open world RPG Avatar Frontiers of Pandora has been delayed to the company's next fiscal year, which runs April 1st, 2023 to March 31st of 2024. Regarding the delay, the publisher said, quote, "We are committed to delivering a cutting-edge immersive experience that takes full advantage of next-gen technology, as this amazing global entertainment brand represents a major multi-year opportunity for Ubisoft." End quote. The first-person open-world game was originally scheduled to release later this year to synergize with the release of James Cameron's film sequel, Avatar: The Way of Water, which releases this December. The French publisher also announced that they have delayed a smaller, unannounced premium game from this fiscal year to the 2023-24 fiscal year as well. Bloomberg reported that this title is the heavily rumored Assassin's Creed Rift, which is said to be a smaller scale Assassin's Creed title focused on stealth and set in Baghdad. Bloomberg also says that the game will now launch sometime in May or June of next year after being originally scheduled for February. Elsewhere, website Kotaku reported that according to their sources, Ubisoft is still planning another new open world Assassin's Creed game set in Asia, codenamed Project Red. Bloomberg's Jason Schreier later corroborated the report, but clarified that Project Red will actually be a part of the massive live service title Assassin's Creed Infinity. Outside of Avatar and Assassin's Creed, Ubisoft has also canceled an unconfirmed number of projects, although CEO Yves Guillemot did tell investors that two of the canceled projects were Splinter Cell VR, which is in development at Ubisoft Red Storm, the same studio behind the upcoming Division Heartland game, and the free to play live service game Ghost Recon Frontlines, which was in development at Ubisoft Bucharest. Guillemot blames the cancellations on the need to carefully and strategically manage the company's investments in the current fragile economic environment, which saw sales fall nearly 10% in the first quarter this year compared to the first quarter of 2021. And he also confirmed that staff resources have already been reallocated to other projects of higher priority. This bevy of delays and cancellations leaves Ubisoft relying on a Nintendo Switch exclusive Mario plus Rabbids strategy game sequel and the dead on arrival looking open world pirate game Skull and Bones to buoy their financial outlook for the rest of the calendar year. Pardon the pun. So a lot going on here. But what do you think about Ubisoft going from rock solid to Ubisoft?
Hmm. I can tell you that the 2 games they're relying on, they're not gonna make any money the rest of the year, first of all. Any money they make off of Skull and Bones is pure curiosity, and any money they make off of Mario is gonna be children. It was a Switch game, so they might make some money there, but that's fine.
Yeah, that game will do
Yeah,
well. That game will do
it'll
well,
do
but
well, but it's not gonna buoy a fucking company of their size.
yeah, only because it has Mario in the title.
Right.
But
There's
continue.
2 stupid things about this that I wanted to point out. First of all, I wish people would quit saying the fragile economic environment that our sales are down 10% and we didn't see it coming. Listen, all these people keep saying they didn't expect it to come. What do you mean? We talked about this a year ago on the podcast that, hey, there's not going to be any stimulus in the economy. Clearly, there's going to be a drop in the stuff that COVID's ending. We've been talking about this for like 18 months, but Ubisoft couldn't figure that out. Like, what are you talking about? So no, it's not a
Yeah.
fragile economic environment. You fucking suck at forecasting sales, and that's your fault. A failure as a corporation, that is your fault. And by the way, I work for a company that sucks at forecasting things, so I understand how this works. Like it's difficult, but you shouldn't hire weathermen. You should hire fucking engineers. All right, moving on.
What are you, a fucking
So,
weatherman?
like, that part's annoying, I'm tired of hearing that bullshit. They also said that they've reallocated money to other higher priority projects. What is more higher
Mm.
priority than an Avatar game? A game that's gonna be a part of a movie franchise that has made the most money of any movie ever. Second, if you adjust for inflation.
That's a fair point.
What is bigger than
Mhm.
that? And also, what's bigger than an Assassin's Creed game? It's like your biggest franchise. Those are
Mhm.
your 2 biggest things. What else is there for you to do? Like, if you have a live
Yeah.
service Assassin's Creed game that is good and kicks ass, you're gonna make a fuckload of money. You might not make GTA money, I'm not saying that, but you'll make a lot of money. You could do like a Destiny, you could be like a like Des people love Destiny 2, and it's a live service. Like,
Mhm.
imagine if you had that type of success with microtransactions on a Ubisoft title. You would that would buoy you for a couple of years. Like, I'm not understanding, like, then tell me what's higher priority. Like, I don't know. I understand canceling Splinter Cell VR. I could see how that would be a niche game that might not do well, especially with the way that VR is. The Ghost Recon live service, that thing is, and I don't know. Again, I always think these live service games have potential as much as I'm tired of seeing
Sure.
them.
The problem is they had too many. They had Ghost Recon
Right.
Frontlines, they have Division Heartland, they have the other one, oh my god. Shit. Anyway,
Yeah,
continue.
that's just my point is, like, they have all these moving parts, and it seems like
Mhm.
just tell me what is bigger than those 2. I have no idea what there are, and I still haven't heard anything about the Division Heartland in, like, 10 months.
Yeah, it was supposed to be out. Supposed to be out.
Right. I don't get what happened there. I feel like that might just wither away into the dust at some point.
Yeah.
Like, I hope it doesn't, but, you know, whatever. So,
Mhm.
yeah, I just don't get the comments they're making, like, just your lack of planning and shitty business acumen has gotten you in this position. I do not understand. And also 10%, like, sales falling 10% shouldn't break you as a company. You should be financially stable enough to where if that happens, you can survive it for a little bit.
Yeah.
To delay things because of that, you're just not in a good business position. It's none of that really makes a lot of sense to me. Like, but whatever, I'm sure they're doing great, and Embracer Group will buy them or something.
It's almost like they've to me, it seems like they've taken their eye off the ball a little bit. They do have some distractions, if you will. They have the ongoing sort of like sexual harassment, gender discrimination stuff that's kind of boiling, I guess, from within. That's an issue, or I guess an ongoing issue still. And then they have they're a target again of a potential hostile takeover. They just had to deal with one of those like half a decade ago or something like that. So it's almost like they're distracted, and it's almost like they just kind of let these teams do whatever, and they're like, all right, you guys figure it out. Like, this is what the way it looks like on the outside, because they have all these games that, after reading this and hearing this news, they wholehearted, like, if the genie wasn't out of the bottle on things like Skull and Bones, that Prince of Persia remake, some of these other ones, like, they would have those shit canned already too. But I believe that, but they just can't do it. I do agree with you that I think, although the Splinter Cell VR game does sound cool, it is niche. I get getting rid of that one, Ghost Recon Frontlines. People hated the reveal of that game. I think the YouTube video is like 4,000 likes to like 18,000 or 17,000 dislikes. People hated what they saw of that. The other thing is that the point, and I remember the other game, it's Tom Clancy's X Defiant. So they were going to
Oh
have
yeah,
three, they were going to have three live service shooter games in the Tom Clancy universe: Division, Heartland, X Defiant, and Ghost Recon Frontlines. Like, what were they doing? Like, what are they doing? To your point, like they don't seem like they're managed well. Like, what are they doing? They were developing three games that were essentially the same thing. At the very least, it's like three games going the same direction on three different lanes on the highway, and then they all try to get off the same exit at the same time. Like, what are you doing? What are you doing? The Avatar delay. I'm sure that game has gotten so big that they want to make sure that they hit it right. The second thing about that though is that they're missing their window.
right.
It's now not going to come out until after April. The movie will have been out for 5 months at least, and in my opinion, you miss your window. And
Yeah,
that is one of the things that I'm curious about, how Sony and PlayStation handle their releases going forward, and how they synergize things like the Ghost of Tsushima movie with the sequel, and the Twisted Metal series with the free to play game, et cetera, et cetera. The Last of Us show with the Last of Us live service, so on and so forth. Like, I think you have a tight window if you're trying to get those things firing in some sort of sync to where they're feeding each other. And I think with Avatar specifically, Ubisoft is going to miss that. Now, as far as the Assassin's Creed stuff is, whatever. I do want to check. I am curious about the smaller scale stealth focused title. Imagine that that's got to be something you have to say about an Assassin's Creed game. It's so weird, but we'll see about that. That might not be any good either. And yeah, they have a pretty bleak outlook for the rest of the year. Although, like I said, that Mario game will do well on Switch. It'll probably sell 10 million copies at least, no matter what. But Skull and Bones seems like it's going to be a pretty big flop. But I don't know. Ubisoft is acting like they're in a little bit of trouble, and so we'll have to see. We'll have to see. Number three, PlayStation made yet another acquisition this week, albeit not one that will make waves publicly, as Sony Interactive Entertainment announced plans to acquire esports technology platform Repeat.gg for an undisclosed amount. The platform allows players to compete in tournaments for console and PC games like Fortnite, Call of Duty Warzone, League of Legends, PUBG, and Dota 2. Stephen Roberts, vice president of global competitive gaming at Sony Interactive Entertainment, said in a statement, quote, "At PlayStation, our vision for esports has always been about breaking down barriers for gamers to compete at all levels. Together with the talented Repeat.gg team, we're excited to explore more ways for players to engage in competitive gaming and expand the breadth of our esports offerings. This is just the start of our journey, and we look forward to sharing more updates with our community in the future." End quote. So,
Hmm.
what do you think about this like really heavy push of
Mhm.
PlayStation into esports? They bought that Evo set of fighting tournaments, etc. Now they bought these people to do kind of more like the shooter type of side of things. It seems like is the way I take this. What do you think about this?
So what's a Dota too?
I've heard of it, but I don't know what it is.
Cool, sounds awesome. No, I mean, look, esports are a thing. We all know that, so it makes sense to have a platform that you can push in your own way and kind of shape in your own way.
Yeah.
Repeat.gg is a thing that people have actually heard of. So like it makes if you're into gaming and you've seen any esports, I think you've heard of it. So this is it's a smart move to me. It lines up with like you said, their kind of new push into it. My favorite part about the comment is he's over here using like marketing talk, breaking down barriers for gamers. Like what fucking barrier? Like you're
Yeah.
good enough to play in it or you're not. Like I don't. There's no barriers here. Nobody's like, listen,
Right.
don't let the Jews play COD Warzone. That's not a thing that's going on. So one of
Sure.
the guys I work with told me that he just bought a gaming PC and he was playing Call of Duty over the weekend. He said everybody on Warzone is like a fucking professional now. He said you can't do
Yeah.
anything. So
Yeah.
love that. But anyway, no, I mean it makes sense. Like, if you want to the way I've always looked at it is if you want to push your way into a certain part of an industry, it really makes more sense to have your own entity to do that. So if you're gonna highly
Mhm.
focus on esports, it makes sense to buy a platform like this.
Sure, sure. It's interesting because to me, like in my mind, esports like it's gaming and they're playing video games, but it's almost like it exists like standalone from video gaming.
Yeah.
Does that make
It's
sense?
like
Like,
yeah, it's like us shooting basketball at the gym and then the NBA.
yeah, that's a great
It's
example.
not the same.
Yes, that's correct. It's like it's real. I understand it. I know it's popular, but I don't know fuck all about it. I don't know anybody that plays competitive gaming competitively. So like I don't know. It's just like its own thing, but it's obviously huge. I mean, they sell out arenas, etc., to have these tournaments. So I don't know. I don't know what the long game is here for PlayStation. I don't know if there's money to be had here. I mean, obviously there's money to be had. It's a company, but like I'm just trying to figure out like what is the return on investment?
Mhm. Yeah, what's the play?
Because yeah, like what's the play? Like are they thinking okay, people are going to watch a repeat .gg tournament of Warzone. They're all going to be playing on PS5 and wow, I need to go get a PS5 so I can play
Oh, no.
Warzone on
Yeah.
that. Like
They're gonna
I
be
don't
on
know.
G4.
I guess so. I mean, maybe that's it. Maybe it's as simple as that. Number 4. Sony was not quite done announcing partnerships following the Repeat.gg deal, as they also revealed a deal with toy and merch manufacturer Spin Master to develop and produce merch for Sony Interactive Entertainment's biggest brands. According to website VentureBeat, Spin Master will develop products for popular franchises like God of War, Horizon, The Last of Us, and Uncharted. Spin Master said it plans to create products, quote, in the action figure, collectible, playset, plush, roleplay, vehicles, RC, and games and puzzles categories, end quote. The toy maker was founded in 1994 in Toronto, Canada, and reached success due to IP like Paw Patrol, excuse me. In 2021, Spin Master announced an expansion into gaming and created a $100 million fund called Spin Master Ventures to invest in toys, entertainment, and digital games. So, just off the back of what we were just talking about, what do you think about PlayStation branded toys? You walk into Target, you see Kratos, Monopoly, etc.
That seems like that should have already happened. I'm not
Yeah.
entirely I'm not surprised at all. I'm kinda more surprised that they haven't done this already, like, it's interesting. I kinda wonder why they picked I always wonder this, like, why they pick certain people, like Repeat GG, that made sense to me because 'cause I've, like, seen it before, like, on G4 or on YouTube, like, I'm familiar with that,
Hmm.
but, like, I mean, I don't know what Spin Master is. When you said Spin Master, I thought of 2 things. I thought of a DJ, and I
Yeah.
thought of a 21 Savage song, where he
21,
he
21.
he's like, "I stay dizzy, so I be spinning." Anyway, I don't even know what that means, but
Me either.
no, I mean, look, we've talked about it before, like, one of the things I like the most about Star Wars is all the random toys and, like, Star Wars Monopoly and, like, just the community of it and how people cosplay and stuff, and, for PlayStation to buy a company like this, it kinda opens the door a little bit more for that, of course, PlayStation cosplay is, like, a whole thing if you're bored one day, like, the God of War cosplays are outrageous, and so are some of the Ratchet& and Clank things people come up with, it's fucking unreal, but anyway,
Sure.
I think it'd be pretty cool, like, I love little knickknacks and toys, I don't know that I would necessarily buy any. What do you mean by, role play is one of the things they said, like, what do you like
I don't that
a
one I don't know.
D&D type of thing? Or, like,
Yeah,
imagine
maybe,
imagine D&D, but you're using PlayStation characters, like, I don't know, it's just
maybe.
funny. A D&D brawler, anyway, but no, like,
Yeah,
it's just an easy way to push your product to make money, another revenue stream.
yeah,
All these major companies we look at, like, if you get bored one day, you can go on Reddit and see, like, how the distribution of money flows through Microsoft and Apple, and they have just just it's just fucking everywhere, right? And
yeah,
PlayStation's kinda creeping that way.
yeah. It's because it's like at Microsoft, Xbox is like the 7th or 8th most important thing that they do. You know, like it's probably they're probably not even the top 5. And it's
Right.
like they have their fucking financial calls and they're just like, "All right, what's next here? Yeah, Xbox." You
Yeah.
know, like
It's
but at
right after,
place
like,
like
"What are we paying Mackenzie Bezos this month in, like, alimony?"
yeah, but at PlayStation, like, or at Sony, like, PlayStation's it. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the number one top dog. But anyway, about toys, I think it's smart. I get it. It makes sense. I'm not, I'm not the one to go out and buy action figures or etc. You know, whatever stuff like that. You know, there are some things that appeal to me, not toys, like a coffee mug or a T-shirt or a light with the symbols on it, etc.
Mhm.
But at the same time, you do have to foster the newer generations of gamers, right? If you want to keep the wheel turning, so to speak. So,
Mhm,
how do you do that? Well,
mm.
you appeal to the kid who just played Astro's Playroom on his PS5 and now he can go out and get, you know, the fucking
Astro.
Astro's Playroom playset
Mhm,
figurine playset. Yeah. So I get it. It makes sense. And it's interesting to see how PlayStation is making their investments, to see the avenues that they're going down and kind of like the vectors that they're chasing as opposed to Microsoft. Like with Xbox, it's like, all right, cloud gaming on the phone on the go. So
mhm.
here's a subscription service where you can just pay for it and it will have everything there for you to play day one, etc. PlayStation, they're like, okay, we're gonna have we're gonna invest in esports tournaments. We're gonna have the best first party games. We're gonna go hard in VR, and we're gonna have toys and shit now. You know what I'm saying? Like
It's like, becomes more
it's
tangible.
yeah, that's a good way to put it. But it's such a contrast, in my opinion, of the two companies that are obviously direct competitors and how they're choosing or how they view success, what their vision is for the direction of their platform. And it's really two different ideas in a lot of ways. So I think that these last two news nuggets are really interesting to me in that way. And just to see how they're attacking this thing and attacking their business model. Number five, PlayStation's official Twitter account mistakenly tweeted that God of War Ragnarok was originally planned to release on November the 11th this week. The tweets were quickly deleted, but not before screenshots could be captured, of course. Elsewhere, Bloomberg's Jason Schreier confirmed that the release date was moved from November 11th to November 9th, according to his sources, which was the cause of the delayed announcement that was originally supposed to take place on June 30th. In other God of War Ragnarok news, the official PlayStation Store page has been updated to include a synopsis of the game's plot. If you're interested, or if you're like me and want to go in dark, avoid it. So, what do you think about the last minute change of the release date, and what do you think could have been the problem with November the 11th?
I mean, November the 11th is Veterans Day, Armistice Day
Bingo.
in Europe. That would be my guess. You wouldn't wanna release it on that? It would make sense. Yeah, you release a game called The God of War on Veterans Day. It's kinda fucking hilarious, actually.
Yep.
That has to be what it is to me. I don't really know what else it would be, but you think that, God, they would have figured that out sooner. But whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Anyway, I don't need to read the synopsis. I kinda hate that
Mm,
just because it's a sequel, like Ghost of Tsushima having a synopsis is probably a good thing. But we know what God of War
mhm.
is. We've had enough games, and then Ragnarok, we get it. Like, we understand. I don't know that we need that, because I feel like this game really drawing in people who've never played the game before? I really feel like it's a repeat investment at this point 'cause it's a franchise, right? It's like the next Uncharted. Is that, do they want new
Yeah.
gamers? Sure, but it's really aimed at retaining what we've built. That's why
Right.
that's why sequels exist, is to retain what you built and make money off of it again. So
Right.
it's
Right.
odd to me, but maybe they feel like they need to, they have to. I don't know. It seems like
Yeah.
something an older PlayStation, like, board member was like, "We have to have a synopsis." Like, yeah, it's not fucking PlayStation 1.
Yeah. I I don't know. It seems weird that somebody would jump in the middle of a series, but I know I've done it before with games, but I don't know. I I don't know. I'm with you. I feel like your synopsis could be the sequel to 2018's hit reboot God of War.
That's it.
Period. I don't know, but anyway, back to the release date. You're spot on in my opinion. There could be no other reason. People have talked about that they wanted to avoid Starfield from Xbox, that or being on the date that they were going to be on. That has nothing to do with it, in my opinion. But it has, like you said, everything to do with the fact of releasing a game called God of War on Veterans Day, Armistice Day, etc. And that's just, you just can't do that. It's not a good look. Now, again, like I've said on the show before, why Wednesday the 9th? I don't know. Instead of just Tuesday the 8th or whatever. I don't know about that.
Mhm.
That is odd to me. But yeah, I don't think it's any grand conspiracy. I think it's just the fact that they wanted to avoid that
Mm,
potential public relations issue. Also, great point. And then in that, how did they not look at the calendar? Or I mean, you don't even have to look at the calendar. Like they're an American studio. November 11. 11/11 is
everybody knows
Veterans Day.
that.
Like
Right.
it's like, I mean, it's almost like the 4th of July. Like 11
Mhm,
11 is Veterans Day. Like
mhm.
I don't know. I don't know how you missed that one. All right, number 6, Travis, we have a bunch of news nuggets as
And one of
well.
the best names you ever had coming up right here.
Absolutely. I made this number 1 for a good reason. For a couple of good reasons, actually. First nugget. Solo developer Billy Basso visited the PlayStation blog this week to share a fascinating look at how he is using the power of the PlayStation 5 to make his 2D pixel art platformer Animal Well
Mhm.
feel and look quote unquote next gen. Good old Billy Basso.
I'm all here for solo developers. I love it.
Uh
Return of the Obra Dinn, solo developer, and, how many weeks from now is my name gonna be Billy Basshole?
huh. Hopefully next week. But on a serious note, I read this blog and watched some of the clips that Billy the Basso shared, and
Billy the Basso.
it's a very I recommend you go read it. It's really interesting and fascinating, and because I you think about games like that, like a 2D side scrolling game or like a pixel art game, you're like, okay, great, it can play on fucking Game Boy, probably like whatever.
Yeah.
And for the first, I'd never seen anybody try to break it down and explain like what they're doing to make it a next gen game and how they're using PS5, etc. It's really cool to see what he's doing and how he's making it
Well,
actually a next gen game. So definitely recommend reading that. Really cool. Next nugget. PlayStation revealed details on the upcoming Spider Man Remastered PC launch on August the 12th. PC players can enjoy features like ray tracing, NVIDIA DLSS, which is deep learning super sampling, I believe, and DLAA, which is deep learning anti aliasing, I believe. It also features a range of display ratios and a number of other enhancements to level of detail quality, shadows, and more. They also shared the minimum and recommended specs you will need, which you can read in full over on the PlayStation blog. Developer Hello Games released their 20th content update for No Man's Sky this week, called Endurance. The free update includes a revamped freighter system with a wealth of customization options, improved hangars, a new bridge, NPC crew members, a teleporter, a new expedition, changes to asteroid fields, living frigates, and much more. And I just can't get over how they support this game.
mhm.
It's incredible. It's just, and they do this like every 4 months or something crazy like that. Every 4 or 5 months we get a big update. Next nugget, the Gran Turismo World Series kicked off this past weekend with the first round of competitions. The action will pick back up this weekend on July 30th, and more information can be found at gran-turismo.com. The game will also get 3 new cars in an update this week, believed to be the 1982-83 Nissan Skyline Super Silhouette, the Maserati A6 GCS Spider, and the Porsche 918 Spider. Does that do
Mhm.
anything for you?
The Porsche and the Skyline are kinda legendary. I've never been a big fan of Maseratis, but I know why people like them. But yeah, they finally managed to fix the racing right before the World Series, which kinda made sense. I almost feel like they used the time before that to test a bunch of shit for the World
Interesting.
Series. But no, it's awesome. It's at a good place to play if you haven't done it yet, and, you know, I would like to race more than I do. It just takes a lot of energy from me. Like, it's a lot of motivation to, like, switch the HDMI.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. It's a lot of energy to wake up in the morning.
Tell me about it.
Also, film industry website Deadline reported that a sequel to 2021's Mortal Kombat movie is in the works, with Simon McQuoid. What a weird fucking name, McQuoid, returning as director.
I just didn't know there was a I didn't know there was one last year.
Yeah, there was. It was
I
decent.
don't even remember that.
Yeah, it was decent. Also, developer Sucker Punch Productions made Cole's Legacy DLC for Infamous Second Son, I should say, available for free this week on the PlayStation Store. Website Video Games Chronicle reported that Guerrilla Games will be shutting down the online servers for 3 games on August the 12th. PlayStation Vita's Killzone Mercenary, which launched in 2013, PlayStation 4's Killzone Shadowfall and its Intercept cooperative mode, which also launched in 2013 alongside the PlayStation 4. The Intercept mode will also be removed from the PlayStation Plus Extra catalog since it will no longer work. And the last game is Riggs Mechanized Combat League, which launched on PSVR in 2016. This lines up with the Guerrilla's continued sunsetting of the Killzone franchise, which saw its official website shut down in January of last year. So, RIP to Killzone Mercenary, the game I was considering getting a platinum trophy for on Vita. Not going to be able to accomplish that because there's no way I can do that in 3 weeks. But they're really going all in on just getting rid of Killzone, which makes me super intrigued on what the other team at Gorilla is making. Because we know we've talked about it so many times. We know they hired the dude who was the director on Rainbow Six Siege to make a game, and this I don't know, man. It seems more and more like SOCOM. I'm really hoping.
Maybe it's like Overcooked 3 or something.
Oh, get the fuck out of here!
When you read these lists of them shutting down online servers of games that have been out for a decade, it almost feels like every time they just forgot it was online. And then
It's like, oh shit,
yeah,
yeah.
some intern found it like 2 days ago and they're like, "Fuck, we better shut that down. We've been paying $9.99 for that every year."
Oh, that's good. That's good. Also, I love how they just give us 3 weeks notice. Like, what the fuck is it with Sony and this shit? They did this shit with the Vita PlayStation Store, and then then they reneged on that, and then now here we are. We're going to give us 3 weeks to do anything that we wanted to do on Mercenary and Shadowfall. Like, I don't know, man. Like, I know they're 9 and 10 years old, but get the fuck out of here. Come on, they can do better than that. It's a joke. Also, the legendary Doom, Quake, and Wolfenstein 3D designer John Romero announced that he is developing a new first person shooter based on a new IP, and it's being built on Unreal Engine 5. Publisher Paradox Interactive says that Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines 2 will not be out this year, but is in good hands after nearly being canceled last year. It's a
Oh,
vote of confidence.
they had to, like they had some sort of contract with, like, Vlad the Impaler's family. They have to make the game.
Yeah. Also, Famitsu reported that the first off screen footage of Yakuza 8 has been shared online by MMA fighter Mikuru Asakura, who posted a video from his time touring developer Ryuga Gotoku Studio. Bloomberg reported that Sony Interactive Entertainment has had an anti competitive PlayStation Store lawsuit dismissed in the United States. The lawsuit alleged that because Sony only sells digital copies of games on the store, that it had unlawfully monopolized the market.
How do you sell a hard copy on the store?
Yeah,
I
exactly.
buy it and you ship it to me? Why the fuck would I do that? Nobody'd buy that.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, whatever. Why don't you go spill McDonald's coffee on your lap and fucking sue them too?
Also, a Dying Light 2 data mine suggests that the game's first major DLC could be gladiator themed and
Hell
feature a
yeah.
new location.
That's dope.
Yeah, that sounds cool. Developer Platinum Games has hired former Nintendo licensing general manager and managing director of sales and planning Takayo Yamane. Hope I said that right. As its new vice president and CBO. Elsewhere, in an interview with Famitsu, they revealed they are working on a new IP beyond their current title, known as Project GG.
Mhm,
And they also have multiple unannounced games in various stages of development for multiple publishers.
mhm.
They're all over the place.
They are. Are
They're all over the place.
you gonna punch your microphone again?
Sorry about that. Sorry about that, everybody.
Bong!
I was trying to scratch my leg. I hit my boom stick.
Why's your
My
boomstick
boom stick.
yeah, do you keep your boomstick between your legs or no?
That's right. Keep this hog between these legs.
Mhm.
Also, PlayStation added a third PlayStation Portable game to this week's PlayStation Plus Premium Library update. Puzzle game Echo Shift is now available on the service for your pleasure. Electronic Arts Sports, otherwise known as EA Sports, pulled back the covers on FIFA 23 this week, and revealed that it will feature PSG star Kylian Mbappe and Chelsea women's star Sam Kerr. Don't do it on the cover of the game's various editions. EA also revealed that the game will feature Hypermotion 2 technology, spectacular power shots, which look cool, both the men's and women's World Cups. Don't do it. Women's club football. Don't fucking do it. And more. Russian teams will be excluded from the game amidst their ongoing war in Ukraine. Go ahead and do it. And it will launch on September 30th on PS4 and PS5, with pre orders now available. Did you see anything about the FIFA 23 that we're going to get?
Oh, but yeah, I mean, it looks like they've actually done some changes this year, so it'll be interesting to see what the reviews say, I think. The hyper motion looks a little bit different, the shot looks a little bit different. We talked about this would be the addition on PS5 where you'd actually see some different differentiation, I think.
Sure.
This is it's in line with what I expected. I'm glad the Russian teams aren't on there. I think
Fuck them.
I could envision a series where, like, somebody just only gets Ukrainian players and only beats the shit out of Russian players, which is kinda funny to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no comment about the women's stuff. If you're curious, just look up Bill Burr feminism and you'll get the idea.
Oh God. Yeah. Yeah. Well, good. Sounds like a good year. We'll see. I'm excited about the some of the gameplay changes. The power shots look really cool, and the little bit you can see in the in the trailer that they released. Also, mergers and acquisitions news outlet Deal Reporter reported this week that Microsoft's acquisition, of Activision Blizzard could be approved by the Federal Trade Commission as soon as August. So they're going to get their deal done too.
Mhm.
We can say goodbye to Activision. Electronic Arts has filed a patent for a process that would generate content based on playstyle called personas in the patent documents, which would cater advertisements and in-game content for each player. That's scary. I mean,
Yeah.
they're tracking everything anyway, I guess. So what's it matter?
No, the first part of that sentence was exciting. They generate
Mm.
content based on play style called personas, and I'm thinking like, "Oh, cool, like, it will learn that I like to run pick and roll, and then it'll like an
Nope.
adaptive engine." No, it's not what it meant.
No. Warframe developer Digital Extremes announced a new free-to-play fantasy MMORPG called Soulframe at TennoCon 2022 last weekend. It sounds and looks pretty cool. Keep my eye on that one. Speaking of, Warframe's next open world expansion called the oh my god, stroke. The Duviri Paradox was confirmed to be releasing later this year. Sounded like Porky Pig, but also also The Witcher and Cyberpunk 2077 developer CD Projekt Red has seen its stock price fall over 75% since the launch of Cyberpunk. The company, which was at one point valued at $40 billion Polish,
What is that?
is now worth less than $10 billion. In fact, Dying Light developer Techland has now surpassed them as the most valuable Polish games company. Next nugget, free to play Warner Brothers character brawler Multiversus soft launched this week into an early access beta, which will morph into an open beta on July 26th. While the game is free, it also comes with 3 different founders packs ranging in price from $40 to $100 if you're interested. Video Games Chronicle also calculated that it will cost you $255 worth of premium currency called Gleamium
God.
to purchase all of the cosmetics that cannot be unlocked through gameplay grinding. Later in the week at San Diego Comic Con, developer Player First Games announced that LeBron James, the NBA star, will be joining as a playable character on July 26th, and Rick and Morty will be added when the game's first season launches. Excited about LeBron? LeBum?
No, I saw that today and not interested. They I get why he's there, but it's like Warner Brothers keeps telling us that Space Jam LeBron is awesome as Michael Jordan Space Jam. It's just annoying.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Also, indie game Stray, which launched on the PlayStation Plus service this week, is officially a hit. If Steam data is anything to go by, the game peaked at just over 60,000 concurrent players on Tuesday, the highest ever for a game published by Annapurna Interactive, and that is just on one single platform.
Imagine making a game about cats and it's like does better than For Honor.
Yeah, just imagine. I'll have some thoughts on it in a moment. Also, former Naughty Dog executive Bruce Straley, who spent 18 years at the studio and served as co-director on Uncharted 2, The Last of Us, and Uncharted 4, announced the founding of his new game studio called Wildflower Interactive. According to the studio's website, they are, quote, making smallish, creatively charged, uniquely stylized games, end quote. The current staff includes experience from the Call of Duty series, The Pathless, Abzu, Astroneer, and Kena, Bridge of Spirits.
The smallest comment, the smallest creatively charged, that's like we just found out that he like hangs himself while he jerks off to anime. That's what I felt like. Like he had this normal exterior for 18 years making good games, and then he just fucking snapped. And he's like, I got to go do this in
uh,
the corner. It's like, okay,
David
fucking weirdo.
Carradine, I'm gonna die when I come. All right. Epic Games boss Tim Sweeney said this week that the company will not ban the sale of games featuring NFTs after Minecraft developer Mojang said that they would not allow NFTs in their game. Sweeney said, quote, developers should be free to decide how to build their games, and you are free to decide whether to play them,
Perfect.
end quote. That's the most libertarian thing I've ever heard out of a game developer, and I'm here for it.
Oh,
That's perfect.
cool. I won't play it.
That's perfect. If you make your game whatever you want, and I'll decide if I want to play it. Also, Destiny 2 developer Bungie announced that they will hold a showcase on August 23rd to reveal what is next for the live service title. So buckle up. Developer Build a Rocket Boy. Terrible name. Awful name. The studio, founded in 2016 by former Rockstar North president Leslie Benzies, announced a trio of big name appointments to the studio this week. Mick Hawking, the most Irish name I've ever heard, the former head of Sony Liverpool studio, PlayStation London studio and Evolution Studio was hired as Chief Development Officer. Murray Pennell,
These
the former
fucking
Vice
names.
President, the former Vice President of Publishing for Europe at 2K, has joined as Senior Vice President for Global Marketing. And Randall Price, the former Senior Vice President of Publishing at NC Soft, has come on board as Chief Publishing Officer. So some heavy hitters there for Leslie B.
Leslie Benzos.
Also, Atlas confirmed that there is no upgrade path for PS4 owners of Persona 5 Royal who want to play on PS5, meaning that players will be required to purchase the game again if they wish to play the updated version. Diablo 4 beta files have been discovered in the Battle.net launcher catalog, suggesting that a beta release might be just around the corner. Diablo 4 will come to PS4 and PS5 sometime in 2023. Giant Bomb journalist Jeff Grubb stated on his recent podcast that Ubisoft is developing an open world Polynesian themed spinoff of its Immortals Phoenix Rising game. Grubb says it's in early pre-production, and that it might be coming in 2025 at the earliest. So we can forget about it for now.
Is that your favorite sauce at Chick-fil-A?
That's my wife's favorite sauce.
Yeah,
Sauce.
women love Polynesian sauce, but
They do.
I don't know what it is.
Capcom released a new trailer for the Resident Evil Village Gold Edition this week, which revealed that an update to Mercenaries mode called Additional Orders will introduce Lady Dimitrescu, Chris Redfield, and Heisenberg as playable characters. What do you think about playing as Walter White in Resident Evil Village?
I mean, I guess that's all right. I would just feel like I was a guy cosplaying trapped in that world. What is a Chris Redfield?
Oh, bro. You just committed like a cardinal sin for Resident Evil. He's like one of the main
Oh.
characters in Resident Evil series.
Hey guys,
It's
that's
okay.
cool.
Forgive him. He knows not what he does.
Whatever, man. I know the lady person I've heard of. Doesn't she have big titties or something? And people are like, "Oh my god."
She's like 8 feet tall.
Whatever, dude.
Step on me.
Yeah,
Okay.
well, maybe she'll step on Chris Redfield.
Also, website GamesIndustry.biz reported that toy maker Mattel has hired Mike DeLay, the former senior vice president of strategic partnerships at mobile game developer Scopely, to lead Mattel 163. What a weird name. The company's partnership with NetEase to bring digital games to consoles based on their popular IP. So we're going to get some Mattel games on console. It's weird.
What are non-digital games?
Physical editions, I guess, or maybe they're just trying to say like we're not going to make board games. These are going to be like video games. Just say video games. Why can't they just say video games?
It's because they hired an engineer with a business degree. Doesn't speak
Mm,
fucking English. What is can we have a toy soldier game? That'd be kind of cool.
that'd be dope. Be dope. Chinese studio Netcom has raised $8 million in a new round of funding from Galaxy Interactive. Netcom has also established a U.S. base of operations in Manhattan, New York, known as Netcom USA. Real original. They are best known as the maker of Dying 1883 and Dying Reborn, and they are currently working on a post-apocalyptic title for PlayStation and PC called Shawa American Story. Shawa American Story. Okay. Speaking of NetEase, the Chinese company is also opening a new studio in Seattle called Jar of Sparks, which will be led by former Halo Infinite head of design Jerry Hook. UK-based developer Jagoff, has acquired long-running US games company Pipeworks. I've got some Pipeworks for you. The Eugene, Oregon-based studio has changed hands rather quickly after being acquired just 2 years ago by Sumo Group for $100 million. Pipeworks was founded in 1999 and is primarily a support studio that has helped ship more than 125 games in their time, including Madden, Terraria, and Zumba Fitness.
Oh wow, what a gambit.
Also, website Kotaku reported that Rockstar announced plans for the next major GTA Online update. Here we fucking go. Called Criminal Enterprises.
Mhm.
And it sounds like one of the biggest updates yet. Oh boy, good for them. It will release on July 26th and features numerous quality of life changes, nerfs and buffs, expansions to all businesses, and the ability to play in private sessions and still operate said businesses. Wow. So glad for you guys. Hope you really enjoy it.
Wow, it sounds
Fuckers.
like a really cool mode on Red Dead. They just moved it over to GTA.
Fuck out of here, fuckers. Next nugget. Website Push Square reported that a class action lawsuit has been filed against Sony in the United States, alleging that Sony shipped the PlayStation 5 with a known defect that shuts the console down completely when playing games. Everybody just suing Sony left and right.
I mean, you had that happen.
Yeah, I don't think it actually means like bricking. I think it just means like literally just turned it off and then okay, I can turn it back on. I don't know. Netflix's Tekken Bloodline animated series based off the popular fighting game series will debut on August the 18th. Upcoming open world hunting simulation game Way of the Hunter will feature officially licensed weapons from Austrian manufacturer Steyr Arms, and a new trailer for the game seems to indicate that this is not the only firearms manufacturer developer Nine Rock Games has an agreement with. Let's fucking go. Let's go. Sony will discontinue one on one customer support on Twitter via the Ask PlayStation Twitter handle beginning on August 1st. All support requests will be directed to the official PlayStation support website. And my understanding is that they're just going to delete the Twitter handle. So you won't even be able to find them. Free to play Dragon combat game Century Age of Ashes. Age of Ashes was delayed the day before it was scheduled to release this week on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5. Developer Playwing chalked the extremely last minute delay up to needing more time after announcing the release date just last week. How is that possible? How do you announced the release date a week ago, you delay the game the day before, and then you say, "Oh, it's coming at some point in the summer." Like, buddy, we're in summer. What are we doing? What's wrong? How do you not? And what is wrong? And how did you not know it 7 days ago?
I'm
I don't know.
already in summer. It couldn't be more summer.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Also, Fall Guys developer Mediatonic finally apologized for the bug causing players to accidentally purchase items when trying to preview them, and they have been issuing refunds. Chivalry 2 developer Torn Banner Studios revealed what is next for the online medieval combat game this week after just recently releasing a major update that added mounted combat. The studio says to expect a new Hippodrome map geared towards mounted combat,
Sweet.
a new snow map, and new weapons in future updates. Fucking love that game. We still haven't got to play the horses.
Yeah, the hippodrome sounds fucking cool. Like you can just imagine running around in a circle,
Hmm.
with your lances and whatever. It'd be a blast.
Yeah, agreed. Also, Haven Studios boss Jade Raymond revealed that their first game is being developed on Unreal Engine 5 and it's currently being played every day by the development team. So maybe they're a little further along than I thought. I don't know.
Yeah, I would hope you would play a game every day you're building in some sense.
Sure. True, true. Adventure game Oxenfree has come
Uh-huh.
to skateboarding game Ollie Ollie World as a
Uh-huh.
free DLC this week.
That's pretty good.
Wow, hang on. I see what they did there.
Yeah, you just now got
I just
that?
now got that. That's pretty good. Oh, that's good. All right. Developer Volition announced that the Saints Row reboot has gone gold ahead of its launch on PS4 and PS5 on August 23rd. Let's fucking go. Stunning looking water sports sim Kayak VR Mirage is currently in development for PSVR 2. Dutch developer Better Than Life has announced.
I can't wait to drown in VR.
Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Cowabunga collection will launch on PS4 and PS5 on August 30th. NBA Jam inspired VR basketball game Blacktop Hoops is in development for PSVR 2. It looks pretty cool. I watched a little trailer for it. Don't know how I'm going to play without getting sick, though. We'll see. Also, SD Gundam Battle Alliance will get a free demo on PS4 and PS5 on July 29th, ahead of the game's launch on August 25th. Steampunk 4v4 turn based combat RPG Circus Electrique will launch on PS4 and PS5 on September the 6th from developer Zen Studios, the Zen Pinball team. Website PlayStation Lifestyle reported that a PS4 PS5 listing for PSP's Disgaea Afternoon of Darkness strategy RPG appeared on the Japanese PlayStation Store, so that's probably happening at some point. A Sonic Frontiers release date of November the 8th appears to have leaked in the Steam database this week, putting it head to head with Skull and Bones and God of War Ragnarok. PlayStation Plus premium subscribers can now enjoy a 4-hour game trial of MLB The Show 22 if you want to try that out. Website PlayStation Universe reported that the following games received update patches this week: Rainbow Six Siege, WWE 2K22, and Fortnite. They've really started mailing these in, which sucks.
Yeah, but I mean, it's the middle of summer, so they're probably on vacation. Not that the other studio knows when the fuck summer is.
Yeah, true, true. Also, Amazon Prime's Fallout TV series has recently begun filming, and there are some set photos out there if you're interested.
Yeah, have you looked it up anything?
I know Walton Goggins is in that, but I haven't I've seen like one picture of like some cars outside of a diner or some shit.
Yeah, it's
That's
just
about
like Fallout 4, like you don't buy the insurance and then you just die and the series ends.
it. God almighty.
Walter Goggins will be dope in that show.
Yeah, he'll be good. Somebody else big is in that. I don't remember. Next nugget, website Gematsu reported that multiplayer game Dragon Ball The Breakers will launch on PS4 worldwide on October the 14th from publisher Bandai Namco. Card battle horror game Inscription will come to PS4 and PS5 on August 30th for $19.99. Pre-orders are available now. Narrative adventure game South of the Circle will come to PS4 and PS5 on August the 3rd. No More Heroes 3 will launch on PS4 and PS5 on October 11th in North America and October 14th in Europe. Ys 8, Lacrimosa of Dana, will come to PS5 on November 15th in North America, November 18th in Europe, and November 25th in Oceania.
First of all,
Oceania.
they just put words together.
They did. Also, didn't we? This is the second week in a row we've had reference to Oceania.
Yeah, when you release games like that, you're just trying too hard. Just release the game. Why are you making
It's a
it so
very
complicated?
it's a very beloved series of games, action RPGs. I will say that. Hope you guys enjoy it. Also, retro fighting game compilation Breakers Collection will support rollback netcode and crossplay when it launches, according to developer Cubite Interactive. Developer Alderon Games will release MMO dinosaur survival game Path of Titans in beta form on PS4 and PS5 on July 27th. I am super curious about this game. I watched a trailer for it. I'm very curious about it. I might have to try it out. It's free, is my understanding.
Can you play as different dinosaurs trying to survive? Like, could I be a T-Rex and
Correct.
then I could be a
That
raptor?
that's correct.
Interesting.
And then you can form like packs. Like if me and you are velociraptors, we can form a pack of velociraptors with other players, and we can like hunt other dinosaurs to get like
Yeah.
resources.
Okay, just imagine you telling your wife, "I'm gonna go be a velociraptor with Travis. Our pack needs to get together." She's not gonna know she's not gonna understand.
I mean, if she wants to leave, she can go ahead, and I'm going to be
Really?
a dinosaur.
Fucking stepbrothers, you're gonna be in the backyard growling.
uh, Action RPG Thymesia has been delayed from August 9th to August 18th. That's a big one. Narrative adventure game Alfred Hitchcock Vertigo will launch on PS4 and PS5 on September 27th in Europe and October 4th in North America. And finally, Gematsu reported that publisher Konami and the World Baseball Softball Confederation, I'm not convinced that's real, has entered a partnership to develop a new baseball video game and a new esport international competition. Interesting. And that's all for the news this week. I'm going to turn it over to Travis now, or Ethan Cock, for this week's new games.
On the 18th, we have Dungeons of Sundaria and the Rift Breaker Deluxe Edition. On the 19th, we had Century Age of Asses, but that's not a thing anymore.
See, look how late they delayed it.
We have Echo Shift, Endling, Extinction is Forever. Well, yeah. We have Hazel Sky, Loco Roco, Midnight Carnival, which sounds fun.
Ooh, I like that.
No Heroes Allowed, which is like pretty much our philosophy for any kind of extreme scenario. Like, house is on fire, not a hero. Like, listen, I know the Good Samaritan law that you're supposed to follow. Guess what? It doesn't mean I have to stop.
Yeah.
Not a fucking hero.
Yeah.
Okay. Also, Stray, which I'm sure we'll hear more about later. People at work I've talked to that have played Stray. They love it. Like, there's
Hmm.
something endearing about it, apparently. But I don't.
Hmm.
I can't say. On the 20th, we have Baldur's Gate Dark Alliance 2. We have Dread Out 2. Hazel Sky came out again the next day.
God damn it. How do I miss those things? See, I don't read them. I try to go in blind as possible for making the show notes.
Seduction, A Monk's Fate, which, you're not a monk if you're having sex. Severed Steel.
Oh, that's a good point.
The 21st, we have Arcade Archives, Check and Pop. Okay. Bricky to me. Bricky to me. I don't know what that is. Bright
Yeah.
Memory Infinite.
Hmm.
Danganronpa S Ultimate Summer Camp. Okay.
Nice.
I
Nice.
assume you're in India.
No, you're like teddy bears and anime characters and shit.
Okay, I hate it. We also have Don't Fall, Alif.
Oh,
Alif? Is that how you say that? Alif?
I don't know. LF.
LF. Okay. We also have Hell Pie. We also have Instant Sport Winter Games. We have Post Void. River City Saga 3 Kingdoms. We have a River City game every week.
No kidding.
Wayward Strand.
And carry on my wayward strand.
We also
Okay.
have Airy Vikings. Capcom
Mm,
Arcade 2 Second Stadium, Dungeon Slime Collection, End Zone: A World Apart. It's not a football game. We have
mm-mm.
Ninja Run. We also have
Ugh,
Princess Loot Pixel again times 2. What a
the fuck is going
what a
on?
name. And finally, we have the Jumping Brownie.
And that's all for the new games this week. Let's take a look here. The Rift Breaker, that's a really cool game. It's like a top-down kind of like base building action game. It's cool. There's a demo for it, I think, on PlayStation actually, if you're interested. Didn't get Century Age of Ashes like you said, wish we had.
Mhm.
Seems like a fun game. Stray, I'll talk about that in a moment. Let's see here. Bright Memory Infinite. Apparently that game is like really cool. Like looks awesome. Really good action first person gameplay, but it's like 2 hours long. So it's like a demo basically. You're gonna pay $20 for it.
No.
Eh, Yeah. Well, let's see. Yeah, that's about it. So Stray probably the biggest game this week, biggest release, and yeah, but some decent stuff in there. Danganronpa, that's a big one too. All right, Travis, let's begin to wrap the show up here as we always do by discussing what we have been playing and anything that we're looking forward to in the week ahead. What do you got?
We, did our second race at F1. I'll put the video up hopefully this weekend. We're struggling right now, which we expected. The cars aren't great, but you're struggling in a different way than me. I'm just having a hard time. We're both having a hard time racing the AI. It's, interesting. Like, I will say that the AI really accelerates out of the turn, like, in an unrealistic manner. Like, it's so hard to keep up with them when you enter a straight. Like, really the only places I ever gain on them are in the corners. It's just
Yeah.
weird to me how fast they take off. Like, they need to fix that. It's just unrealistic. Like, that isn't a thing that happens. Yeah, in that race, I managed to, start 3rd, barely missed the pole. I was, like, 0.076 off the pole, like, it's crazy how close we were, and then,
Yeah, I saw that.
immediately, they completely fucked up the 1st lap, so it's the 2nd race in a row I've done that, but, we'll figure it
I
out.
can't even stay in the damn race.
Yeah, we'll figure it out eventually, but I will say that the 2 races we've done, the computer has made major mistakes. There's been 2 engine failures, and then I was behind Lando, and he bobbled it into a turn, and I ended up passing him. And the computer made another mistake, and I ended up crashing trying to pass him because I didn't anticipate the mistake they made, and then I ended up putting myself in a bad position. So, I'm not used to racing the AI and having to worry about that. I'm used to them being online or within the track. So that's kind of a new way to think. You have to, you race humans with that thought that they're going to make a mistake eventually. So,
Right.
it's a different way to think about the computer, which is kind of cool. I like it. We also play Battlefield. I'm really close to getting the last, sniper. I've been having a lot of fun with, well, the DM7, I moved past the DM7, and I've been using the, what's the last one on there? The last gun in that category you use? The
The
BS. Yeah, I've been
BSS?
trying to use that a lot lately. I just like the rapidity of the fires. I like that a lot better. It's
Yeah.
been fun. I've been having a blast with that. I told you the other day, like, I was coming in 20th and felt like I was a world-class player. That is true. There was a couple of games where we were top 10 and our squad was top 5, and I found that the games that I play the best, and I feel like that we play the best as a squad, we spend, you know, half the time on the ground, half the time in some sort of vehicle, and it seems to be a good balance for us. And I don't know if that's, like, just changing our perspectives helps us stay focused. Like, when we were younger, I could just snipe for hours and it wouldn't and I'd play really, really well, but it's now it just seems like my attention span isn't there or my focus span, and I can, like, kill some time in a helicopter or a tank is enough to kinda break the cycle, and I can go back into using, an assault rifle or a sniper or something. So, been
Sure.
having some fun with that. We've had some really epic battles at sea on exposure. I mean, we had some pretty epic ones, last
Oh,
time we
yeah, yeah.
played, just fucking all kinds of shit exploding, just, like, legitimate battlefield moments that everybody kind of, talks about. It's kind of a meme now, but it legitimately has those now. So, yeah, a lot of fun with that. I still it never gets old watching people drive vehicles off the cliff. Like,
That is
always
hilarious.
hilarious. Doesn't work out half the time, but it's been fun. So, the game's in a good spot. I wish it was like that at launch, but, I guess beggars can't be choosers at this point.
Yeah, I've been loving Battlefield 2042. I can I think if you're curious, I think it definitely is feels safe getting it. I think it's actually on sale right now on a summer sale on PlayStation. So if you're interested, it's probably I don't know. I can't see how much it's on sale because I own it, but I'm gonna guess it's probably like half off. And I'd say it's worth that. I'd say it's
Yeah.
worth definitely worth 30
That,
bucks or
that
whatever. So
shotgun attachment either you or John unlocked for the tank. I don't know what you call it.
oh yeah, that actually was
It's
pretty
fucking
cool.
good. Like, I like it so much better than the volley.
Yeah, I agree. Hopefully we can get some of that in this weekend. Me, you, and John, and we got a new set of weekly challenges, so that'll be a good time. And then yeah, I forgot that we did a F1 race again, but I'm not good right now. I don't know what my problem is. I don't remember. I wasn't this bad on 21.
No.
I just have this problem with braking going into turns, and I inevitably smash into somebody. But then the second race, I like over braked because I was like, all right, I'm not going to rear end somebody. And then and one of the assholes, whoever it was, I think it was Gasly, he like was trying to overtake me, and then he got into the turn and he had to get back over, to be able to hit the turn. And he ran into me, and then I like wobbled and then ended up hitting somebody in the rear end anyway, and it tore my shit all off. Wheel came off, so I was done in the first turn. So I gotta get better. I gotta get good. But I really like the game. It's one of my favorite racing games that I played. I just got to figure out what the hell I'm
Yeah.
doing wrong. But
The handling's different than last year too. I think it'll take you some time to adjust.
yeah. And also finished the Ghost of Tsushima Icky Island DLC
Oh,
this
nice.
week. Yeah, really enjoyed that. I actually finished it over the weekend. I think, man, that game is good. And the crazy thing is that as for as good as it is, I still see ways that they can improve it, which makes me really excited for the sequel. So yeah, that was awesome. I enjoyed my time with the DLC. Pretty short DLC, which is it's fine with me. It's perfect. I didn't need 10 hours or nothing crazy like that. I think it took me like 4 or 5 hours maybe, just perfect. And then the last thing I've been playing is Stray, of course. And I am probably about 3.5 hours into it or so. I hear that it's like a 5 or 6 hour game, so I'm probably like halfway through. And it is it is a cool game. It's a somewhat unique concept from the sense that you're a cat, obviously, but it's like a post-apocalyptic thing, which isn't new per se. Well, not by any stretch of the imagination, but I really like the setting and the art style, and the music is at times is really good. And it is cool to play as a cat in the sense that you can do things like you're solving environmental puzzles is what you're doing, and it's cool how you can do that from a standpoint, when you're not playing as a human. So you're solving things in ways that you got to think like a cat basically. So that's kind of cool, and I dig it. I don't want to pass judgment on it yet. I want to finish it before I kind of say how I feel about it as a whole. The weird thing is that like at times it's a very pretty game, and then other times it's kind of like this looks like a PS4 game. I mean, it is a PS4 game, but you know what I'm saying? It's like this looks good, not great, but at the same time, it's kind of going for kind of a more, I don't know, like artsy fartsy, I guess, sort of vibe and what it's trying to do. So yeah, I'm enjoying it so far. It's another little short game. Love that about it. So my goal is to finish that and then hopefully start on Marvel's Guardians of the Galaxy, or at least try it. I say start, but I want to try it, see if I like it, make a decision about that from there. So that's it for me. That's it for the show. With that, we'll get out of here. If you guys enjoyed it, don't forget to subscribe so that we'll get delivered to you every Monday with a brand new episode on your podcast service or on YouTube, wherever you choose to listen. Also, if you could leave us a rating or a review, a like, comment, thumbs up, hearts, stars, all of that good stuff. It's very helpful for us to fight the algorithm and stay relevant in searches, etc. And if you want to talk with us and talk PlayStation or talk about the show, you can find us on social media. Again, at Twitter, at the DualSense Pod. We're also on Instagram, the DualSense Podcast, Facebook, and our blog, which is the DualSensePodcast.wordpress.com. We'd love to hear from you. And if you can also be sure to share us with a friend or a loved one who you think might enjoy the show. And I also want to give a shout out to, I won't say names because they didn't say that I could and I didn't ask, but we got a very good compliment this week, two very good compliments. And one was that we get through so much news in 90 minutes, and they don't know how we do it. And second is that they hear stuff on our show that they don't hear anywhere else. So also very appreciative of both those comments. So
Mm.
thank you all for listening. Have a great week. and we'll talk at you next time. Bye bye.